Oh,
And we should be back.
hello, ladies and gentlemen, if we are back. To catch you up with what's happened whilst you've been gone, your bear picked up a 5 place grid penalty. Thompson has been disqualified, not really sure what for. And an Aston Martin has just had a spin going through Sector 2. Matushi's been disqualified for the session for parking in a dangerous location. He is the second driver now to be disqualified. That is so unfortunate for him. He was parked in a dangerous location. He couldn't move because of all the traffic that was coming past him in that sector. There was absolutely nothing he could do there. That is really, really unfortunate for him. Literally nothing he could do at all.
That is rather unfortunate. All of that missed while we were on a little technical pause. But we're gonna see it here now.
Don't go into the pits. Oh. My biggest bugbear is when people go into the pits when the checker flag's flying, because it just means everything takes longer. No, no, Dragon, no. Why?
Dragon definitely heard what you were saying and decided to intentionally do that.
Bro was
But
like 3 tenths up. Why has he done that? But it
so
started like seventh.
and
Kazuto
Kazuto
goes
goes
second. That's what I'm
second.
talking about. Come on.
And Marco sets a very last second time, goes third for 1:28.3. This has definitely mixed things up a little bit, with 3 being at the bottom, retired or disqualified, two disqualifications. And Hynut gets a
Oh,
5 place grid penalty
what?
for illegal
Legal
blocking.
blocking? Bro, I've never seen anyone get a 5 second penalty for illegal blocking in this game. How do you even
That
get that penalty?
something very bizarre is going on, and I've been informed by Dragon that their lap was invalid.
Oh, for God's sake, man. Just don't invalidate, you know what I'm saying?
So that is going to end our qualified session there. Apparently everything decided to happen while my game and stream were completely broken. So what happened there? I mean, we've got our leaderboard here. Assetto does take pole of that 1:28.0. We're then going to see Kazuto, Marco. Yorbear has the 5 place grid penalty, knocking him down to 9th. So 4Waz will go 4th, followed by Slapbeef, Periland, Tundra, and then Yorbear. EQ, Corny, Dragon, Captain Kami, Hynut, Not Speed Racer, and of course, then at the bottom, for the bottom 6, we've got Misty, Rax, Alonso, Thunder, Scrub, Tomps, and Matushi. Of course, the bottom 3 not setting a time.
Well, no, Thompson Matushi did set a time. They just got disqualified for EA Codemasters type reasons. You know.
Fine. It can all be explained by just saying EA, to be fair. It's always how it goes. But hopefully this stream doesn't break like the last one. I've changed a couple of settings. It should now be functioning. But our predictions for the race, Ollie. I'm thinking Assetto has a very good chance here. And Yorbear as well, if he can make a recovery drive. And I mean, Scrub's race pace is impeccable too. So I wouldn't count him out even though he's starting at the bottom.
Although obviously it is quite a hard track to make a overtake stick at unless you go on the overtake in turn 1. But you go on to if you go for an overtake into the final corner, generally you get re-overtaken into turn 1.
Indeed, that does happen very often. Of course, having 3 DRS zones is a lot. That's a lot of extra speed that you do gather throughout the lap, and we're gonna see the session starting here. I've not seen a grid start for 4 weeks, and we are on the grid already.
Yeah.
We now
3,
reach 3,
4,
4 lights, 5
5.
lights. It's lights out and away we go. The McLaren of Assetto gets a very good start. The Red Bull next to him doesn't get the greatest start. The AlphaTauri does come up round the back.
Oh, Zuto!
My game is lagging. That is not the stream, people. That is my game. Kazuto has had an incident, drops down a few positions. We have a lot of other positions. Tomps goes all the way down to the back. I think they're at the back already. Captain Kami goes to the back. Scrub takes advantage to gain 2 places. Corny's at the back as well. It's all happening right now. Dragon makes a move on Not Speed Racer early on in this race, and that's going to be Not Speed Racer going off the track. Not exactly ideal. Matushi's making up a lot of places. Not Speed Racer has had an incident, has crashed completely.
He went off track and he couldn't get it. He couldn't keep it on track through that left-hander, so he just pulled up. He was going slower already, so he had to just pull up and let everyone go through. Otherwise, it would have been classed as an unsafe rejoin, and he would have been rather heavily penalised.
Indeed, so that's Not Speed Racer's race not getting off to a great start as we go to the front here and see that Marco has Assetto trailed very closely here. As, of course, no DRS just yet, which is now we're looking at pure race pace. There's no DRS to look at it. There's a little bit of weaving on straight, and Matushi has retired for the session.
Are we getting a full safety car? No.
We're getting a virtual safety car, I believe.
It is a virtual safety car, and Matushi has clipped the right-hand curbing through the final chicane and has spun into the wall.
Both Mercedes enter the pit lane.
That is an interesting choice. Both of them.
Both Mercedes have entered the pit lane.
Questionable choice. Really,
and indeed, this is going to slow Splatbeef down. Splatbeef has sat there waiting for at least 2 seconds, and that's...
Both changed to hard tyres. Are they thinking they're going to the end on those tyres? That would be insane. Literally insane.
I'm not entirely sure what they believe is going on here, but I can't see them make it to the end of the race on a very... This is quite a tyre-intensive circuit.
Also,
a street circuit.
That virtual safety car has not lasted long enough for them.
It has not. They have fallen very far back. Of course, Marco was just about to make an overtake on Assetto when that got called, very much hindering the first lap of his race, and this will not reset the DRS timer either, so maybe this will help Marco out in the long run. But as we continue to see here, we're going to look at what tyres everyone's gone on to here. And everyone in the bottom 4 now, Splatbeef, Rax, Alonso, Thunder and Corny, as well as Forwaz, they've all changed tyres, with 2 of them going onto the hards and 3 of them going onto the mediums, which is very interesting to make a first lap pit stop. I wonder if they've got anything, but Marco's looking around the outside here of the DRS zone, doesn't find anything, goes for a switch back into turn 27, obviously can't find anything as Assetto plants the car on the inside line.
Yeah, I think going to mediums now is an interesting choice, because at that point you're banking on there being another safety car, because you can't do anything. Here we go, DRS is enabled now as Pereland goes for a move on Tundra. That's not worked out. Oh, side by side here could be interesting. They managed to hold it very nicely, in fact. Will Pereland get the move done with the inside line through here? That's going to be yes. Pereland keeps the position ahead of Tundra now.
Dangerous part of the track to be making an overtake, but a very clean overtake overall. As we see now, Pereland will now start pushing, try and build a gap to those behind, as Tundra's following very closely and Kazuto very closely behind that. And as we go to the front, Marco's really... I mean, the top 2 have built quite a lead now. 4.4 seconds between second and third of Marco and Pereland. As we see now, Marco, I think, is actually faster than Assetto. But Assetto has just got the car position in all of the corners to just stave off any attack from Marco.
Yeah. Well, this is possibly tyre advantage. Marco is on the mediums compared to Assetto's hards. Yellows in sector 2 and sector 3. That is going to be EQ who has gone around. That is not ideal for. That's a
big crash.
That is a huge pile-up. EQ gets a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Scrub. We've got lots of cars without front wings here. Scrub, Misty, Captain Kami, none of those guys.
And we do have a virtual safety car.
Yeah, that'll be for debris. But we have got a McLaren and a Ferrari who are both missing front wings, and that's the last thing Scrub wanted. He's gone from 17th to 10th, and now he's lost his front wing through no fault of his own. There's nothing you can do. It was out of a blind corner where the spin had happened.
And we're going to see Captain Kami and Scrub both enter the pit lane here, along with Heiner and EQ, all 4 of them suffering in that massive crash between so many cars there.
Yeah, I believe all 4 of them taking new front wings as well. Yes, all 4 of those guys take new front wings, and EQ serves his 5-second penalty.
EQ serving the penalty under the virtual safety car will not lose as much time as I guess people involved in that collision would have potentially liked. Scrub, of course, not going to be happy.
Oh,
and Captain
drive-through
Kami gets a
penalty.
drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. That's going
Oh,
to...
he's only just come out the pit lane. So he was trying to get the jump on Scrub out the pit lane and went red just before that virtual safety car finished. As anyone who plays F122 knows, you have a delta, and if it goes red as the virtual safety car ends, you get that speeding under the virtual safety car penalty. So that is very, very unfortunate for him. Was that a drive-through for Captain Kami?
It was indeed a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car.
That is painful, painful.
And we're going to see Marco went for it around the outside, but wasn't quite slow enough and almost didn't make the corner, almost sent the front wing in. And the McLaren faking a pit stop. I'm very confused on what's going on right now.
I believe that was a move to break the toe there. Misty being overtaken by Not Speed Racer. There was a little bit of contact there between Misty and Not Speed Racer. That is interesting. Misty now... Misty looks like he may have slowed down to get the DRS towards turn 1. Oh, Misty just lagged, like a lot for me.
Indeed. Same over here. There's a massive amount of desync happening on the server right now. I hope the drivers aren't too affected, and it's just us being affected spectating, because at least then the driving experience isn't hindered at all. But people are now starting to separate a little bit. We're seeing less battles than we were at the start, but I think one that needs to be looked at here is a battle for third between Tundra, Perryland, and Kazuto.
Yeah. Interestingly, that gap to Alessandro and Marco hasn't particularly gotten larger, although we have had another two virtual safety car periods. So yeah, that is interesting. The gap now, as I say that, gets up to over 5 seconds. So
and Marco's going for it round the outside as we go into this braking zone of turn 27, the final turn on this circuit. Goes into braking zone. There's a lot of time in the braking zone. Is still stuck behind Alessandro. However, will have the DRS going down the pit straight here. Has the line to go for the the outside of the corner. They are side by side going into the corner. Alessandro has the inside line. Marco the outside line. Marco does get ahead. Gets the switch back onto the inside line going into turn 2. They go into turn 3 with Marco ahead of Alessandro in the lead of this race.
Yeah, I got to admit, that was a really good move. That was a really, really good move. And Kazuto having his front wing replaced, he's had contact at some point during that lap. Most likely with a wall. I don't think there was anyone else around him. Kazuto into the pit lane to change that wing, unless maybe he had contact with Tundra or Pereland. I don't know if we might have missed something there. But yeah, the Red Bull man into the pit lane. He's on to new mediums.
New mediums could be the way to go. Were they on hards before or mediums before?
Yeah, Kazuto was on hards before.
Do they believe over at Red Bull that with 19 laps left in this race they can make it to the end? Because I'm not sure that's going to work. I think we are going to see another pit stop period. I wonder if they think maybe it's going to be another virtual safety car or a safety car. Who entirely knows in this session right now? As we go through and see that Tundra has gained significantly, looked for the outside of Perryland, doesn't find anything, of course. As Perryland, of course, another well-rounded defender, but the DRS comes out for Tundra, sticking right behind, looks for slipstream, exits the slipstream, goes round the outside, goes into turn 27, around the outside, gets ahead. I don't know where they were in the DRS detection zone, but that is going to be Tundra taking third place in this race.
That's DRS games from Pereland, and actually, I'm going to do a quick read of a certain paragraph of our rules and regulations here in DRC. Because I'm sure you're about to understand why I'm about to reference the book. Please continue to talk whilst I find the bit that I'm talking about.
Indeed, we're getting the rule book here in the Tier 2 commentary box. I'm not exactly sure which rule's been broken. I didn't study the handbook prior to the season. Maybe I should have. Scrub sets first. It's lap 1:31.8. And Captain Kami has been disqualified from the session for ignoring a drive-through penalty.
Is there a possibility that the game didn't give that to him? I've seen it happen before, where a driver has gotten a penalty and it hasn't showed up on his screen. There is a possibility that that's what's happened.
A possibility indeed, but Captain Kami is not going to be happy with that decision from the FIA. Of course, there's not much that could be done after the race with such a penalty, as no one actually knows how you would have finished. Captain Kami does leave the session, but that is not a great first few laps there for McLaren or Aston Martin, everyone involved in those incidents. Scrub has managed to make his way back up to 13th place despite having that major crash. EQ gets ahead of Rax as well.
Here we go. I've got this.
Sorry, it looks like Your Bear is going around the outside of Dragon. Dragon loses the position to Your Bear, but Dragon is going to gain the DRS off of that. It was a very clean move. No one slowed down for the DRS zone, but Dragon's now going to look again into turn 1. And Ollie,
so that's what I was going to talk about with Paraland. Driving in a dangerous or unsporting manner to gain the use of DRS in the race is not allowed and may be penalised retrospectively. This kind of driving includes, but is not limited to, violently decelerating and or steering when clearly in front of the following car. I would suggest that Paraland slowing down that much on the apex of the final corner may fall under the realms of that rule. We'll wait and see whether there is a report on that after the race.
I very much doubt there'll be a report on that specific incident, as it wasn't done in a dangerous manner and they were almost side by side going into the corner, so that's a very, very borderline case of that rule if it does get implemented. But who knows, that's up to the stewards, it's not up to us, we're just the commentators. As we're going to see, Periland and Tundra still having this battle for 3rd position here, and Dragon did not manage to make that place back. I do believe the medium tyres are currently the faster tyre at this exact moment in time. That is a Forwaz has retired from the session after a collision with a Haas.
Oh, full safety car. Full safety car. This is interesting. People on the mediums. I reckon people on the mediums could go hards to the end from now. 2 laps behind the safety car, 15 laps on the hards isn't impossible. 2 or 3 laps behind the safety car, I reckon people on the mediums go to the hards now. Marco's in, Tundra's in, Periland is in, Your Bear is in. I'm right.
Dragon on the hards also enters the pit lane.
It's a safety car. How have you managed to get a track limits warning? Oh.
This is classic tier 2 moments going on here. As we're going to see who else decides to enter the pit lane here. I believe Misty enters the pit lane. The Mercedes stays out, but that's going to be Tomps entering the pit lane as well. Kazuto enters the pit lane. We'll see what everyone else here does. I can't see Scrub. No, Scrub will enter. Hynut also. No, Hynut does not enter the pit lane, interestingly. Despite being on that medium set of tyres.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice to make. We've got a couple of guys going for new mediums instead of new hards. Which, like I just said, interesting choice to make. We'll see how it unfolds.
Very interesting choices indeed here, but how many safety cars did we have in race 1? Does anyone have a count of that? I would ask the commentator, but I don't know who's commentating tier 2.
I don't think so. I don't think I've got track of how many safety cars there were. I'd say there was at least 1.
It is tier 2. It's very likely.
Well, and both of my guys DNF'd. Surely at least one of those caused a safety car, right? Like, I'm just doing it based on logic. Like, logically, 2 drivers DNF'd. There's probably a 50% chance of a safety car, so there's been at least 1.
Indeed. Ollie having that Red Bull bias, being our Red Bull TP for the season. Drivers currently running 6th and 11th. How you okay with where your drivers are right now?
Well, it's better than DNF'd, like last weekend. So yeah, I'll take this. I'd rather they were finishing the race outside the points than not finishing the race at all.
That is fair enough. I guess. You've got 1 in the points. That's not too bad. Hynut's managed to get a 3-second penalty while under the safety car as well. What is going on? Is this track just broken or something? Because
who knows? It's Codemasters. There's always a possibility.
So we're going to continue here. So we have Dragon is telling me that his 3-second track limits penalty was a glitch, and he will be appealing it after the race.
You sure got that information quickly.
I have Dragon in my ear, you see, like just as he's driving. No, for some reason Dragon's in the chat while driving, somehow.
Dragon, listen to me. You know that your AI gets you get penalised for anything your AI does. I can see you're on AI because those aren't your throttle and brake inputs. Okay, get back to driving. I swear to God, you're not even warming up your tyres, bro.
This is a TP driver conversation via commentary. This is something that I don't think has been done before. But we're going to continue to see here the safety car. I don't think we've had a safety car ending message yet, but the grid is almost bunched up, so I wonder if it will end this lap or next lap. Could be either. Who actually knows? It should be right about now. It tells us it's ending. I do not believe it's going to be ending this lap. We will get the end of the safety car next lap, I do believe. I've just realised I've completely forgotten to put a graphic on the stream that I was meant to put on. Oh well.
Let me guess, is it the gold DRC border? Safety car in this lap. Oh, that's a late call. That is a late call.
That is a very late call.
Dragon, this is why you should have been driving, so you could warm up your tyres. I'm going to kill him.
We have, I don't think you can say that on YouTube.
I'm going to unalive him. I'll do the TikTok.
Yeah, I think you can get away with saying that, yeah. But the restart goes ahead here, and that's a really good start from Perryland. Perryland goes into turn 1 down the inside. I think it's very close between Tundra and Perryland. We're going to continue to see the battle here. Tundra goes round.
Oh, so does Splatbeef directly behind him. We got 2 cars round at turn 1.
Splatbeef and Tundra both go round at the same place. They both lost their front wings. There's debris all over the track. This is an absolute mess. That is not how you rejoin track, and Alonso Thunder picks up a 3-second penalty.
Contact between Yourbear and Dragon, who is now exploring the track limits himself as well. I'm not sure quite what happened there. Oh, someone else has gone round. Thompson has gone round in the Alpine. He's now parked directly across the track. Oh, that's so bad. Please don't die. Oh, okay, good. He survived. His teammate might not, though. Yeah, he's just completely destroyed his teammate. So, his teammate doesn't have a front wing anyway. He couldn't have gone much faster if he wanted to.
That is an absolute disaster of a restart for the Alpine team. If I knew who the Alpine TP was, I'd maybe get them in here for a quick chat about what just happened.
It's Juno. I can ping him and see if he's available. Hold on, that could be fun.
Actually, yeah, if you can get him in. But that's going to be Kazuto, looks for it on Alonso Thunder, goes around the outside. They're side by side, continuing to go side by side in the final sector here. They go into the DRS, so of course there is no DRS, but Kazuto does make the move stick on Alonso Thunder.
Good.
And that's going to be a lot of places being gained. I think someone spun round. Yes, someone has spun round. It's all chaos on the entering the main straight here. Everyone is all bunched up. It's all chaos. I don't know who's overtaken who. Williams does enter the pit lane. The Williams of Yourbear enters the pit lane. I believe that is a front wing change after an instant on the restart. But we're going to see them go into turn 1 and 2 again. Everyone's sort of making positions. And your top 5 currently stands at Assetto, Marco, Perryland,
Where
Dragon,
did Scrub
and Scrub
come from?
Scrub got a brilliant restart, Ollie.
What?
That's all I can say.
So Marco's got a penalty as well. So now Perryland's the only man in the top 3 without a penalty.
This is good for both Perryland and Scrub, as things stand. Was that a car go sideways I just saw and just switched out
of? Possibly. No, it doesn't look like it. There was a brief yellow flag, but it's gone away again, so who knows?
I believe Marco had a little bit of a slide exiting the corner.
Oh, yes, he has. Yeah, because he's lost 2 seconds. He's now behind Perryland.
Indeed. So it's going to be Assetto and Perryland. And, of course, Perryland's just got to stay within 3 seconds of Assetto as things currently stand. Of course, Assetto on this 11-lap-old hard, so will need to pit. So your effective race leader is currently Perryland.
Who doesn't have a penalty. Yeah.
He doesn't have a penalty and will probably not need to pit again this race. So, that is very interesting. Of course, Marco being your effective second place. Dragon, I'm not sure if we'll make it to the end of the race on that set of medium tyres. We will see. There's always a chance. DRS does get re-enabled after the safety car, which of course ended very suddenly without much warning. That might need to be looked into in the FIA rulebooks, because that feels very much like a FIA doing safety car things once again. As Not Speed Race is being challenged by Kazuto for an 8th position. But of course, that was Speed Racer also looking at Corny. Corny, of course, a very consistently fast driver. Currently sat in 7th position, just 2 places behind his teammate of Scrub.
Oh! Kazuto goes round.
Kazuto has gone round.
Lost his left side end plate.
There is an end plate missing on that Red Bull. It's letting people through, and the Haas comes off the corner behind as well and gets ahead. Everything's going on in this race. Everything's just a bit of a mess, really. But that is your driver, Ollie, who has now got to pit. Was on soft tyres, so he's going to need to pit again anyway. But that is rather unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm aware. I'm aware. I know the situation.
But you do still have a driver up in 4th, and your sister team of AlphaTauri. I don't know how relations are going between the two teams right now. But they're running well. They're in 3rd and 6th, with Marco even looking to make a move on Periland for 2nd position here. And it's going to be Marco with the DRS into turn 1. Goes down the main start, finish straight. Has way more speed than Periland. Gets ahead of Periland, going to turn 1. Is ahead. Periland can't do much against the extra overspeed that Marco had. And that is going to be a brilliant move there from Marco.
Yeah, Periland needs to use the DRS to stick with Marco here. That has to be his tactic. Stick with Marco, use the DRS to stick within that 3-second gap to both of these guys at the front. Assetto, of course, will need to box again. He's not going to be able to do 24 laps on those hard tyres. It just isn't possible. But Periland, and he's dropped out of the DRS already. That's not what he needed. He really needed to be able to stick with Marco to get that DRS and stick with him, but it's not going to happen now.
And on the pit exit, it looks like Kazuto is going to join the chicane. Is ahead of Tundra. It's not going to cause too many problems for anyone. But who is Tundra going to cause problems to is Rax, as they both go through that same section of track at pretty similar times. As now we see Corny challenging Hynut for 6th position to get in convoy with his teammate, and it's not looking good right now for the Ferraris. They're just not able to keep up with those ahead. Scrub isn't gaining on Dragon, keeping for about that 4-second mark. Hynut's keeping right on the tail of Scrub, and Corny's catching up actually here. Gets to 2/10, but hasn't got enough speed with Hynut also having
Assetto in the pits.
Assetto makes his one and hopefully only pit stop of the race, as Corny's going to have the tow. Corny gets ahead of Hynut. That's going to be Scrub and Corny 4th and 5th with Assetto having pit. And that's going to be Hynut dropping down, now having Not Speed Racer challenging, as that was a pretty good move down the main straight. Yes.
Yeah, and just to see how close that top 10 is, Assetto boxed from 1st and has come out in 10th. So these guys are all relatively close to each other. We've got this big old train from 4th down to 7th at the moment, with the 2 Ferraris at the head of that little train. We will see.
In fact, EQ is getting very close to joining the train himself as well.
Yeah, he is. That gap hovering at about 1.4 seconds at the moment. It's getting lower though, 1.3, back up to 1.4. He's gaining a bit, he's losing a bit. It's kind of jumping around at the moment.
Look like one of the drivers there struggling to get around the corner, cut it a little bit. I'm not sure if they got a warning for that at all.
Yeah, it probably depends if they lifted or not. Kazuto gets a time penalty for multiple warnings.
Your driver down there not having the greatest race, I must say.
No, unfortunately not.
But thankfully, you do have a driver currently sat in 3rd position, with an almost 3-second gap, so that almost covers the penalty. But of course, still 9 laps left to go in this race. I'm still not sure if Dragon's tyres are going to make it that far. those being mediums have been on now for 7 laps. We've seen them probably start to wear off about now.
Three of them behind the safety car though.
3 of them were behind the safety
So
car.
he'd be doing 13 laps of race wear on them. So I'd say that's probably feasible.
It's feasible, but how much speed will he have at the end, I think, is the bigger question that needs to be covered. But Marco has a pretty commanding lead right now, 4.6 seconds, and increasing to Perryland, as Perryland just wasn't battling Marco anymore and suddenly lost all the pace. Well, not all the pace, he's still in second, but not enough pace to keep up with Marco's
Yellow, sector
time.
1. We have got Misty gone around in turn 1 and turn 2. He's lost his front wing.
Oh, and goes around again, is now in the middle of the track, facing the correct direction.
Oh, that's such a bad place to have lost the car. Oh, especially without a front wing through there. That's going to be painful for him. He's got literally the whole of the rest of the lap to now manage without that front wing.
Luckily stayed out of everyone's way, but will drop to the back and lose more, as he's got to make it all the way back around to the pit lane, which is very far away. You've got some very straight sections of track that you've got to cover to get back there. But we're going to see Not Speed Racer making a move on high out. The move sticks, and then Aston Martin tries to make a double move, goes around the outside. It's going to look like it's going to be Hynut in 7th, Not Speed Racer 6th, and EQ, who has caught up. Someone just hit the wall, I think. Someone lost their end plate.
Hynut's come into the pits. EQ, no, Not Speed Racer did kind of randomly turn into the wall, yeah. I don't know if that was maybe a little bit of lag rather than any actual contact. Because otherwise he's literally just turned into the wall, which would be a little bit of a kind of brain dead moment.
Certified T2 moment, that would be.
Yeah.
Of course, EQ did catch up with this battle and is now staying within about 7/10 of Not Speed Racer, as it looks like both Ferraris now quite comfortably in 4th and 5th. Not really gaining much to Dragon, not really losing anything to Not Speed Racer. Kind of just having a race of their own right now. And EQ's managed to catch up to 4/10. So EQ's got way more speed than Not Speed Racer has right now. And I think EQ might be going for a move in the next few turns.
Misty has retired in the pit lane.
I don't entirely blame him, to be honest.
No, I can understand.
And EQ goes past the Aston Martin, touches the wall, loses the back end a little bit. I don't think any damage was actually done to that car, but EQ does go past. I don't think there was any contact. There's maybe a little bit of like pushing, but no significant contact. And that's going to be a move for EQ.
Spun.
As looks like Not Speed Racer goes back down the inside. I don't know who's going to have the DRS here in the corner. That's side by side.
He's lost his front wing again.
Not Speed Racer has the DRS going down the main straight, gets back ahead of EQ, and into turn 1 will have the lead. And EQ, despite having, well, not the lead of the race, but the lead of the battle, but Not Speed Racer will keep 6th for now, as both the Alfa Romeo and the McLaren go a little bit wide on the exit of turn 1. And I'm going to continue to see here. This battle's now got Assetto involved. Assetto got a lot of pace on that set of medium tyres, which will make it to the end of the race. As Not Speed Racer picks up a 3-second penalty, which is going to give EQ a bit more confidence here. As Assetto looks for it down the inside, can't find it, it's a bit too far back, but he's going to have a better exit here. EQ's going to have to hope he slingshots off the banking correctly, but Assetto, will get ahead, will block off EQ, and EQ now sits down in 8th with Assetto 7th, and Not Speed Racer goes off the circuit and rejoins safely, but that's going to give EQ 7th, Assetto 6th, and Assetto now has the opportunity to hunt down those Ferraris who have just entered Dragon's DRS range.
Yeah, a weird snap there for Not Speed Racer. It looked like it kind of went under braking rather than at the apex of the corner, so that is a weird one.
I love how we're both just here sort of yawning throughout this race as if it's boring. I promise you it's not boring. We're
really
just tired. As the Red Bull of Dragon dives into the pit lane, soft tyres, goes for fastest lap. I'm not entirely sure. That was not a free pit stop by any means, though, and that's going to give the Ferraris 3rd and 4th, and now they're going to have to fight between them as to who gets the podium position. And it's going to be here. I mean, there's still 2 seconds off Periland, but Periland's not had the greatest pace as Marco is now 10 seconds ahead. I didn't have Marco on my radar coming into this race, Ollie.
I did a little bit. He drove last year in Tier 2 in like the final couple of races, but he's really made a step up. Clearly, maybe some more practice, some more understanding of setups, or something similar to that, because it is really working for him so far this season. I think he had a decent result in Bahrain, from what I can remember. So yeah, it's going well for him, that's for sure.
Going well for him indeed. That 10-second lead, that's a major lead for DRC. Like, usually we see, 5 seconds, but a 10-second lead, despite having a 3-second penalty, still going to have a 7-second lead on Periland. And Periland's also got to worry about the Ferraris behind. And then Assetto behind that as well, who has already made in just 2 laps 1 second on the Ferraris and could definitely be a problem in the final few laps.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really interesting to see some of the different strategies we've got going on here.
Dragon has just set a fastest second sector. He's going around the outside of Thompson, makes the move stick, and that's going to be 8th position for Dragon so far in this race. Of course, the soft tyres clearly significantly faster, but are they fast enough for him to make it back to like the top 5 or something?
I think we've got to keep in mind the penalty as well. He would need to... He's got like 13, 14 seconds to make if he wants to get to P5 with Assetto, and that's 5 laps to make that time. So,
Scrub receives a 3-second penalty.
He's not going to be happy about that. He's a man who prides himself on not picking up those kind of things. He's a very, very clean racer, so to pick up a time penalty for him would be really, really gutting.
It will be indeed, and now he's got to worry about his teammate who's only 2 seconds behind. So
yeah.
Which Ferrari is going to be getting the podium here with 6 laps left in this race? And, I mean, neither of them could get the penalty still. They could crash each other out for all we know. They could be a Ferrari master plan.
I would suggest to you that Scrub is about to untap a whole load of pace that he had left on those tyres. He'll start running a lot closer to what his overall best lap time has been so far. It's kind of what he does. Whereas Corny probably will... not necessarily sit back on purpose, but I don't think he'll necessarily push as hard as he...
Assetto is now in Corny's DRS range.
This could be tactical, actually. I hadn't even thought of that. There's a possibility that this is a tactical thing from Corny. To drop back and kind of tease Assetto and maybe just fight with him, stop him from getting near Scrub.
Scrub enters Periland's DRS range as well. So it looks like Corny dropped back. The moment that penalty, Corny dropped back about a second, and is now. And now it's looking like Scrub's got DRS. Corny hasn't, but Assetto does. So I wonder if you're right, this is tactical, and Corny's just going to try and hold Assetto up as much as possible. But Assetto's going to go down the inside into the banked hairpin at one end of the circuit, and will get ahead. Corny goes for the switchback, but doesn't make it stick, and Assetto's ahead already. Which isn't exactly ideal if their tactic was to keep Assetto distracted. As now Assetto only has to make 3 seconds on Scrub. Assetto also has the 3-second penalty, so Corny could try and stick with him. Kazuto sets a 130.8 on a set of soft tyres. However, that will not score any points as he is currently sat in 15th position.
I think there's a possibility that Yellow's in Sector 2. I believe that is Tom's, who has gone round. Indeed it is. And he has lost his front wing, and he's just having to sit there at the moment.
Oh, that's a weird place to reverse, and the Aston Martin of Not Speed Racer has caused a major collision.
Alfa Romeo, yeah. 5-second penalty, severe collision for Tomps there. It's a blind corner to come out of. That is so very unfortunate for the both
Not Speed Racer is not going to be pleased at that incident that just happened. In fact, I imagine there'll be a media investigation launched by the stewards.
I don't know if there's anything more that Tomps could have done there. He stayed still. He stayed predictable. I think it's just the nature of this circuit, which is why, again, this year, they moved all the walls back again to make more visibility.
Indeed, that might be exactly what happened. But Scrub's now within 3/10 of Periland, but Alacento's now within 1 second of Scrub. This is getting very, very close for our podium positions. Periland, I don't know if he has the pace to keep up. Alessento, of course, Marco is absolutely safe out there. 14 seconds. As Not Speed Racer and Tomps both pit for new wings, as they were both involved in that incident and both lost their wings. But Alacento's now within half a second of Scrub. Scrub's within 2 attempts of Periland, and Scrub goes for it on Periland. He goes round down the inside. Periland has the outside, gets the switch back, keeps the move. Alessento also gets the inside line, but Scrub goes ahead. Scrub's going to take second place in this race. Periland now has Alessento to contend with right behind. Alacento's going to switch to the outside. He's going to look for it, keep looking for it. It's going to be, I believe it's going to be Periland with the DRS down the main straight. But it's going to continue to be... Someone just got a penalty. I didn't quite see the name.
But Kazuto again.
But Periland is going to have the DRS here. It's just about enough to keep Periland behind. And that's going to be Scrub with the lead. Scrub in second. Periland third. And Alessento having to keep with fourth. But there's still 3 laps left in this race that Alessento can work with.
The strategy here for Scrub is to put a car between him and Alessento. That's what he's doing. It was the same... He had Corny in between, and now he's got Periland in between. Because for Alessento to catch and get ahead of Scrub, which is what he needs to do, he has to get past Periland. And at the moment, at least at the moment, he isn't able to do that. Although, here we go. Oh, man, he's all over the place. Here we go. Is he going to go around the outside of Periland? Is he going to brake earlier and go for the inside line? No, I think he's actually messed that up a little bit. I don't think he's going to get the run that he's looking for. Oh, he might. Periland pinches him a little bit. It's not going to be enough. Periland stays ahead for now.
Periland will stay ahead.
Got Alessento almost going for the move there. That would have been a very, very risky place to go for a move.
Yeah, almost going for the move at all of these corners. But of course, Periland doesn't have the penalty to contend with. He just needs to keep it behind as long as possible, that he won't build a 3-second gap.
Yeah, and Periland, unfortunately, well, unfortunately for Alessento, is in DRS with Scrub. So it doesn't even particularly make a difference to Periland, because he can just sit in Scrub's DRS and Alessento, he can let Alessento keep trying. All it's doing, every time Alessento goes to the inside and doesn't make that move on Periland, it's just costing him time. And Periland knows that. Periland knows that, no doubt.
Periland
in Tomps again. And
Tomps
he's retired from the session. Has he? Marco's retired. Marco, hit him!
Marco, the race leader, has hit Tomps on track. Tomps has now caused 2 major collisions due to a spin. They're in the middle of the track, and Alessento almost went for a move there that could have ended in absolute disaster. Scrub takes the lead of the race. Periland second, Alessento third.
Before anyone else possibly hits them, I'm going to hope that Marco despawns before Dragon gets there. Don't hit him. Thank you, he despawned. Okay, life is fine. So this makes Periland your effective leader now because of the penalty situation. Alessento and Scrub are now guaranteed to finish on the podium, except no, they're not. Corny is only 2 seconds behind. So Alessento and Scrub both need to get away if they want to end up on the podium. Only one of them will, possibly neither of them if the gap isn't big enough. This is going to be really, really close.
Indeed, EQ, of course, is now right there as well. Marco is not going to be happy with that. Leading this race very convincingly, 15 seconds most of this time, and then has a collision with Tomps after Tomps spun once again. That's a very unfortunate end to Marco's race, as now Marco confirmed down in 15th with the DNF. But Scrub now has got so much work to do to stay ahead of his own teammate. In fact, Scrub now has enough gap that he will be 3rd place. I think. I'm trying to do some maths.
Trying to do the maths whilst it's always moving around is really annoying. Yes, at the moment he does. It's Periland that at the moment does not. No,
in fact, we'll look at the leader time. Corny is 3.3 seconds behind the leader. That is just about enough for Scrub to keep his podium. But of course, Corny's going to want the podium, even if it's off his teammate or not. It goes down to 3.1.
He'll get it off Alessento. He'll get it off Alessento if he doesn't get it off Scrub.
Indeed. But
that's the Alessento's just outside of the 3 seconds now. Corny really needs to keep pushing. What Corny could really do with is getting in Pereland's DRS, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Corny has used up pretty much all of his battery. I say that.
Assetto's going for Scrub here. This is the final lap of the race. We're entering the final sector. Assetto gets ahead of Scrub using the DRS, but Scrub has the inside line. But Scrub is now actually fully behind, and we're going to continue to look here. Scrub is now outside the podium.
I don't know if he is. I don't know if the timing works.
Yes,
out.
I have the leader timing open, but Scrub gets back ahead. They're going through the final corner. Scrub has the outside line. Assetto's going to have the DRS.
That move could cost both of them the podium. Who's it going to be? DRC. Scrub wins on track. Pereland goes to the top, and Corny misses out by 0.003 of a second on the podium to Assetto. 0.003 of a second he misses out by. Scrub comes second by only 0.15. Those are the closest podium gaps we've ever seen in DRC.
So Pereland will win the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix here in DRC Tier 2, followed by Scrub, Assetto, Corny, EQ, Yourbear, Dragon, Alonso Thunder, Splatbeef, Highnet. And we're going to continue to see here as Rax goes down the final straight. Rax will finish this race in 11th position. And now we see Not Speed. In fact, I don't know what number all these penalties are on, so this could still mix up just a little bit. As on track, we're going to have Speed Racer finish 12th. Followed by Tundra and Kazuto being the last man to finish this race. And Dragon only getting 7th. Not the greatest points haul for you, Ollie.
No, it's better than no points.
It is better than no points. That is very true.
I mean, we've got a couple of teams who haven't scored anything this weekend, either due to crashes or whatever.
Now, a lot happened in that race, Ollie. If you want to drag in Scrub, Assetto, and Pereland for interviews, that would be appreciated. Or get them in the cooldown room anyway.
Yes, I will ping them to come to the cooldown room now.
So that was an eventful race. Our favourite race leader, Marco, 15 seconds ahead, has a collision with a back marker, ending his race and giving that amazing end for who got the win and who got podium right there. Pereland, in the end, did get the win, followed by Assetto and Scrub. And then Corny missing out by 0.003 of a second. Rather unfortunate there for Corny, but that is going to be Ferrari 3 and 4. Ferrari 2 and 4, McLaren 3rd, and then Alfa Romeo getting a win. First win of the season for Alfa Romeo, I do believe.
Yes, that is correct. I'm just going to quickly ping Alessandro to try and get him in for a interview. Cool down room, please. There we go.
Of course, if they do not wish to join for an interview, that's absolutely fine.
We've got two in the cooldown room, Pereland and Scrub. We're just waiting on. Hopefully, Alessandro will turn up because then we can do an interview. And Marco posting a very apt GIF in the tier 2 chat. I don't think you can see it, can you?
I can't see tier 2 chat. I really wish I could right now.
It's the dancing coffin GIF, which is pretty apt for how his race went. Right, we're going to get in first with your third place driver, Alessandro. He's coming to the comms box now. Welcome along, Alessandro. P3 at the end of things, just about. It was very close in front, just 0.015 of a second, and even closer behind, Corny coming fourth by 0.003 of a second. How was that race for you?
Okay, actually, this could be one of my best races all time because this medium stint was so fucking great for me. It was pretty unlucky safety car for me, but it is what it is. I managed to get a podium at least.
I'm actually getting a warning from YouTube right now saying there's not enough video to keep a smooth stream, so that's fun.
Okay. Whatever.
YouTube streams. Anyway, Alessandro, so how much were you really trying to keep ahead of Scrub at the end there to try and take the podium? Because of course you must have thought Corny was like really close, which I mean was like 3 thousandths.
I mean, Scrub got like a better exit from the last corner, so it was like over for me. But I tried. I press ERS, I press my throttle, and just pray to the Christ. But actually, didn't expect I gonna overtake Corny in the standing in the race time. But it's pretty lucky and pretty unlucky at the same time.
Indeed, and I can't actually remember where you qualified.
He was on pole.
I was pole.
Oh, you were pole. Oh my god, my memory's so bad. So, but you had you fell down quite late in the race because you pitted much later than everyone else. Yet you still managed to get up on that podium. So it's a very impressive drive. What drove you to make that strategy over the hard medium strategy?
I mean, I always expect that there will be max one safety car, but I tried to get mediums on second stint to be just faster, like in this race, but it was very unlucky for me. At lap 8, I think, there was safety car, so it was perfect for mediums. But Marco's incident, and I think my pace was great, so I managed to make it.
Indeed. And Ollie, anything else you want to add?
No.
No, just congratulations on a good race, mate.
Thank you.
So one more thing from me, if I just quickly grab the calendar. We go to Monza next weekend. Of course, a very fast circuit. What are you confident around Monza? Do you reckon we could see you here on the podium again?
Less than Jeddah. I want to predict anything because there can be always free safety cars. And yeah.
Fair enough. Not put too many expectations on yourself.
Yeah,
In fact,
I would just try to get podium and that's it.
I like that mentality. That's a good mentality. Thank you for joining us, Alessandro. Congratulations on 3rd position. And hope to see you here again next weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, moving up the order, we're now going to get Scrub in for his interview. Scrub coming P2 overall. Another incredible recovery drive. Similar to Bahrain, but arguably better. In fact, not arguably, it was better. So, Scrub, how was that race for you?
A bit chaotic. More pits than I would have liked. Less safety cars than I expected. I'll give the guys that. I'm not gonna lie. Although that may have something to do with me putting it on reduced so that we actually had racing laps. I think it was necessary this week, honestly, for Jeddah. We all know what it's like. I'm still shaking. Those final 4 or 5 laps between me, Parolan, and Alessandro. Oh, incredible. Some great racing from the pair of them.
And what was going through your mind when you saw that Marco had retired and you actually did have a chance to win the race?
Well, I mean, I knew I had the penalty. I knew I didn't have a chance to win the race. I knew the Parolan behind would end up getting behind. I didn't think I could pull the gap unless Alessandro and Parolan came together, at which point it would have been happy days. But yeah, no, I was just like, as long as I can get past that calamity without damaging my own car, as we saw earlier in the race, I couldn't get past a calamity without damaging my car. That was nuts. But yeah, I just knew that it would. I had to let off. I think if I'd have stuck my foot through it and pulled away through there, I probably would have potentially pulled a gap. But I didn't. It wasn't worth the risk. I thought I'd rather keep the P2.
Fair enough. And of course, your teammate of Corny missing out on a podium by 3 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, gutted for him, honestly. Yeah, it was a tough race for him. Very tough race. Got caught up in a lot of the mid-pack incidents. I think, to be honest, if I had started mid-pack, race probably wouldn't have gone anywhere near as well as it did. I think that crash out in qualifying, it happened last season. I think crashing out in qualifying actually saved my race. Yeah, I don't think it would have gone as well had I started mid pack or towards the front.
Indeed. Ollie, anything else?
No, just a massive congratulations. I mean, a solid, well, I say solid, an epic drive from both you and Corny through various kerfuffles through the second and third sector at various points throughout the races.
No, not to toot my own horn, but I don't suppose you guys caught my overtake of Powerland on stream, did you?
I wouldn't know.
If it was near the end, we did.
Yes. Oh, fantastic. Okay, cool.
I probably not clipped, but I'm sure you can go back and find it.
I will.
And Monza next weekend. Are you confident around Monza?
Kind of.
Remember, you're in a Ferrari.
Okay, yes, very confident, very confident. We're putting the rocket ship engine in. As long as Ascari doesn't completely screw me, then we are good.
Tifosi, gonna win, champion, Forza Ferrari, etc.
Yeah, Forza Ferrari. Grazie, ragazzi.
Right, we hope to see you back here next week, Scrub.
Yeah, man. See you later. Cheers,
Yeah,
boys.
see you in a bit, no problem. Right, coming up next, we have got your race winner, back-to-back race winner. He won in Bahrain, so Alfa Romeo have won this season. Fun fact.
Oh, I see.
Coming into the comms box now is Paraland with a back-to-back win in round 1 and round 2 here in DRC. Paraland, how does that feel for you?
Oh, mate, it feels great. I hate this track. I was struggling so bad, just doing everything, trying to be really careful, keeping it on track. At the end, I was defending for my life, like against Assetto, just trying to keep him behind, and yeah, it paid off. Kept my nose clean, no track limits, so that definitely helped. But yeah, it was a good race. Really tough though, probably toughest race I've ever had, but worked out in the end.
What went through your head when you saw Marco DNF?
Oh mate, I mean, at that point, I was trying to keep really safe on track, so on. But yeah, I was very happy when I saw that. I don't get how he DNF'd. I mean, dude was like 20 seconds in the lead. Makes no sense.
If you want to know, I can tell you.
What happened?
A back marker spun.
No.
And was parked around a blind corner across the track, and Marco drove into him.
I mean, first of all, and this isn't ironic, that's terrible. Second of all, oh no. Anyway. I mean, I do feel terrible for him. And obviously that sucks. But I'm very happy for myself too. I was a bit late. I don't know who played that.
Oh, that was me. I would have gotten that faster, but I misclicked. These are going to be great for interviews.
Yeah. But yeah, ultimately, obviously very happy. And yeah, I was dreading this race. I really hate Jeddah. But thankfully it's done and managed to get P1. Can't ask for more. Well, fastest lap would have been nice, but that wasn't going to happen. And yeah, on to Monza.
Do you think Monza's going to be a good weekend for you? Is Monza one of your better tracks, would you say?
I don't know. I mean, I forget the name, but the chicane before the last corner. What's it called in Monza?
Ascari, the fast one.
Yeah, that one, Ascari. Like that's gonna be tough, and everyone's gonna be running very similar setups because it's Monza, so there's not gonna be a lot of advantage there. And yeah, it's gonna be
0-0 wing gang.
Basically, yeah. And but yeah, hopefully we can do well there as well, and keep getting good points, and back to back. Maybe.
You hope. That's the ideal.
I hope. That's the ideal situation. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. You could always round out the championship very early if you keep doing that. So.
I mean, yeah, that would be very nice. and then just chill. Give my teammate a toe after round 6. But yeah.
Sorry
Well,
if
no,
you heard
you
my
guys-
exclamation.
I was wondering.
I
My
just
voice
found out.
isn't that nice, mate. I don't know.
No,
leave a comment.
I just found out that Mizzy won tier 1.
Oh, that's nice. Is he Haas or?
Major Pog. No, he's Red Bull.
Oh, Red Bull.
Otherwise,
Oh,
I
yeah,
wouldn't be
we're
excited
talking with-
about it. would
Yeah.
I?
Talking of the Red Bull TP.
I know. I realized as soon as I said it.
Anyway, Periland, congratulations on your win.
Thank you very much.
Very impressive drive and keeping calm, noticing all the penalties around you, I assume.
Yeah. I mean, when Scrub got that 3-second penalty, it was amazing.
Yeah, and of course, very much kind of relying on a bit of a unfortunate incident for Marco just a few laps earlier. But once again, congratulations. Thank you for joining us in the commentary box, and look forward to hopefully hearing from you again in Monza.
Yeah. Thank you guys. I hope to be here. I'm back here next weekend. Maybe last interview as well. We'll see. But yeah. See you guys next week.
Indeed. So, Ollie, that was an interesting race.
Yeah. I'd like to read out some of the actual things I've got written in my notes for the podcast for this race.
Okay, I'm listening.
It involves various misspellings, so I'm going to read this verbatim, by the way. I'm not going to correct myself. A scrub cut of qualifying without setting a time. When Marco crashed, here we go. Marco cut for lead after contract with... I'm missing the I in that. With spun bark marker. That is verbatim what I've got written in my notes. That's how frantically I was typing. Yeah, for yeah. Oh man.
Anyway, Ollie, thank you for joining me in the commentary box tonight. I do apologise to everyone for the issues with the stream early on. I do believe they should be fixed next weekend. In fact, I think I'll have SimHub working next weekend. So that should be nice. If I'm even doing tier 2. I've got no idea which tier I'm doing next weekend. But hey, we will find out. Ollie, once again, thank you for joining me. You can find our YouTube channels in the description if you just wanted to follow us. I don't know why you would, but they're there anyway. And of course,
it's been like a year since I last uploaded anything.
yeah, honestly, same. But you could also join the Digital Racing Championship community at discord.gg/digital racing, as you can see on screen. Thank you for watching, and
We'll probably see you next week.
we will probably see you next week.
For Monza,
Goodbye.
the Templar
For
State.